The United Nations Special Rapporteur for Human Rights in Burma warned the government that continuing rights abuses could undermine the country's reform efforts. Thomas Quintana spent the last 5 days visiting Kachin and Arakan states, conflict areas where hundreds of thousands of people live in displacement camps. Speaking to journalists, Mr. Quintana urged authorities to start demining areas, especially in Kachin state.
I urge both the military and non-state armed groups to comply with international human rights and humanitarian law and to address the use of anti-personnel landmines. Over the years of conflict in Kachin state, the use of anti-personnel landmines has been widespread by both sides, and they continue to cause death and injury to civilians as well as severe psychological trauma to the communities.
Quintana addressed the crisis in Arakan state, where over 120,000 people are now living in camps.
Rakhine State is going through a profound crisis that threatens to spread to other parts of the country and has the potential to undermine the reform process in Myanmar. Both Muslim and Buddhist Rakhine communities continue to suffer the consequences of violence that the government has finally been able to control, though question marks remain over the extent to which excessive force has been used.
He says the suffering in the larger Rohingya camps is unacceptable and there is an urgent need for access to healthcare.
My major concern lies with the lack of adequate health care in the larger Muslim camps. For instance, in Tangpo camp in Maibon township, I met a woman in dire need of medical attention due to the severe case of gangrene in her foot. This kind of suffering in the camps is unacceptable, and I urge the central and state authorities to ensure that adequate medical care is provided to all IDP camps.
The UN rapporteur felt the government needed to address the problem of freedom of movement in the camps, noting that one felt more like a prison than a camp.